and pleasure to be here this morning with those of you out there in Sankey land. You've got time to go and call someone or to text someone or to email someone and tell them to get on this call. We're going to talk about something very, very, very important to life this morning. And I thank God for a platform such as Sankey Global that will allow me to talk to you about things that are not necessarily immediately talking about Sankey. In other words, Sankey wants you to be totally healthy. They want you to have the information that it takes in order that you can live a higher quality of life. And they don't think that our wonderful Sankey formulas that are the only one of their type out there, there's nothing close to it, but they still know that you need to know some more things. And that's what it's all about, is education. The education of how to take care of your body, how to help that body that God designed for you, that is so meticulously put together that you need to know the things along with the Sankey formulas that you can do for that body to help it reach homeostasis, which is 7.5 on the pH scale. That means your body is sort of automatic. It's on automatic, it's on cruise. It does everything that it needs to do. That's right. All you got to do is give it a few things. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about something real important. We're going to talk about what the world calls mental health. But I don't call it mental health. I call it brain health. And so do a lot of the doctors today that are just stepping out into the forefront to tell the truth about health. But again, I'm Dr. Franco Taylor. I'd like to thank my wife for all the 27 years of backing me up. And again, I say I know she loves me because she allowed me to deliver our children at home. So I thank God for her being here for me all the time. Recently, I went through a little something. Of course, she was right there. And I thank God for her and my children and all of you out there in Sankey land. I thank you all for walking together with me and the rest of our leaders as we go and we cover, restore, and reverse the ills of the world. That's right, because we've got what it takes to do it with. So we're going to talk about brain health versus mental health today. Brain health versus mental health. Now, let me see. I put together a special program, and so I'm going to have to see if I can get it to work for us. Let's see.
There you go. We are watching your screen, Dr. Franco.
Okay, but I want to see if I can do the next thing, which is I did a custom slide, and now there it is. Can you see?
Yay!
Oh, wow, that's pretty good. Folks, you all don't know why I'm so excited, because a year or so ago, I knew nothing about PowerPoints. I knew nothing about computer. I knew nothing. You hear me? But I told them, pardon the word I'm going to use, but I told them I was an old dog that would learn new tricks. And I am doing that. And I've got my doctor, Ruth Ann, my daughter, who's helped me, and Kim Trahan, my son, all of the Sankey family that I just moved into, they've helped me. So we're going to be talking about brain health versus mental health. And you notice I have here that the latest research, listen to me carefully, people. We're talking about ADD, ADHD, we're talking about Alzheimer's, dementia, anxiety, anger, depression. We're talking about all of what they call mental health. We're saying that it's actually brain health. Latest research proves that most mental health problems are actually brain health problems caused by insufficient and or poor diet. Are you listening to me? In other words, we've been thinking that people are mentally challenged, that they've got mental problems, but in reality, they just have brain problems, just like you have a kidney problem. Do you know that if you have a kidney failure, that you basically do what people would call lose their mind? My mother, God rest her soul, was supposed to die at 60. She didn't die until she was 84. I worked with her for 24 years, but several times she had kidney failure, and each time she would be out of her mind. And they would say, well, it looks like she's got a dementia in her background. I said, no, she doesn't have dementia. Right now, she's got kidney failure. And the minute your kidney starts failing, then your brain is affected immediately. And so you're just disturbed, you're confused. And of course, once the kidney was under control, then guess what? She was sharp as a tack again. So again, Brain health versus mental health. We're going to deal with brain health. Again, latest research shows, again, that mental health problems are actually brain health problems caused by insufficient and or poor diet. You got to get that into your heads. When we get finished, we're going to open up for questions. But again, you've got to realize that you've got something that you've got to do. You've got to learn how to help this body heal itself. Our research developer, the scientist that started all of this 50 years ago, Dr. Bahia Diaz, said that he could not come up with products or formulas that would heal any part of the body, but that he could come up with research and develop formulas that would help the body to heal itself. And so that's what we're talking about. You've got to do something, folks. You've got to do something too. The number of people suffering from depression, anxiety, bipolar disorders, addictions, PTSD, and ADHD is just skyrocketing. More and more and more and more, we see people suffering from these, what they call mental health concerns. But the method and standard of treatment has not changed. That's right. Mental health, as they call it, has skyrocketed. There are more people that have the depression, anxiety, ADHD, all of those kinds of things, the bipolar, the dementia, Alzheimer's. More and more people are coming down with that every day. But the way of treating it is still the same. The standard of treatment has not changed in decades. So as you can see, that's why it's getting rampant, because we don't have any way of really dealing with it. But so the key is you cannot change the brain until you understand how it works. That's right. Then you can understand that when you get the brain right, the mind will follow. Are you listening to me? You get the brain right and the mind will follow. We are not dealing with mind health concerns, but with brain health concerns. So we've got to go from mental health to dealing with brain health. Hope you're listening to me, brain health. We know that too much alcohol, okay, does what? It destroys the liver. And we also know that smoking does what? Smoking causes lung cancer. Okay, so we know that. So doesn't it therefore make sense that a brain that requires 1/3 of the nutrition of our bodies, that's right, the nutrition or calories that go into our body, our little brain, 3.5 pounds or so, literally requires 1/3 of that nutrition. Are you listening to me? So doesn't it make sense that a brain that needs that much of the nutrition go in our body will go into a brain fog, or it will decline its ability if it doesn't get the proper nutrition? Are you listening to me? And think about it. If we're not eating food that is nutritious, most of us are eating dead food anyway. So if we're eating dead food mainly, and the brain needs 1/3 of that for its existence, and a third of something dead, that means that nothing from nothing leaves nothing. The brain is actually getting nothing. Are you all understanding what I'm saying? You're not mentally challenged. You're malnourished. Okay. We are not mentally challenged. We're just malnourished. We're not getting enough nourishment. Poor food choices affect the brain more so than any other organ, because the brain is the master. It's what literally makes it all happen. I guess I liken it to when you go to the airport, you got the command post, you got the command center there that's telling all the planes where to go. Well, that's what our brain is doing. And poor choices of eating, are becoming malnourished, literally affects the brain more than any other organ in our body. The brain is only 2% of the body's weight, but again, it needs 33% of the calories that you consume. They did a test in Australia. There were 2 islands in Australia. One had a fast food chain on that island. Okay, I don't know if it was Mickey D's, Captain D's, Wendy's, or one of these. I don't know which one it was, but they had a fast food restaurant on that island. The other island did not have a fast food chain on it. So this is what they noticed. The Australian island that had the fast food chain on it, they noticed that the people had lower levels of omega-3 fatty acids. Those are the essential fatty acids for the brain, okay? Those nutrients for the brain. And they had 5 times the level of depression. Are you listening to me? They had the fast food chain, whatever the name of it was, and they had lower levels of omega-3, which are brain food, brain nutrients. They had lower levels of that, and consequently, they had 5 times the level of depression. So you see, there's a direct relationship to food and mood. Are y'all listening to me? Okay, Dr. Franco Taylor, and we're here with the medical moment, and we're talking about the brain. We're talking about the difference between brain health and mental health, all right? So if you've got a fast food body, then you've got a fast food brain. Are you listening to me? Okay, there is a direct result between the number of fruits and vegetables that you eat a day, okay? A direct result, okay, that you eat every day. And what they saw, that your happiness level depended upon how many fruits and vegetables you ate each day, up to 8, up to a count of 8. So then, if you have 4 servings of fruits and vegetables, they found that those people were happier than if they had only had 2. And if they had 6 servings of fruits and vegetables, they were happier than if they had only had 4. And if they had 8 fruits and vegetables, they were happier than if they had only had 6. Are you listening to me? Food does matter. The quality of your food, the food that you eat, determines the health of your brain. And therefore, you might think in terms of the fact that your mind is going to be regulated by the health of your brain. So if you've got a healthy brain, then you've got a healthy mind. Food sets the mood. You gotta get that, you gotta get that, okay? So now here's something else that we find. Since your brain needs that much of the food that goes into your body, or that much of the nutrients, it needs 33% of the good calories that go in, then guess what? When you gain weight, as your weight goes up, the actual physical size and function of your brain goes down. Are y'all getting this? When the rest of your body gets most of the nutrition, your brain size diminishes, the brain shrinks, and your brain function gets less and less. Are you hearing me, folks? 72% of Americans are overweight, and 40% of Americans are obese. So we call that diabesity. I hope y'all get that. They're obese and diabetic at the same time. That's diabesity. There are over 11 risk factors that have to do with the brain, that steal away from your brain, and diabesity is actually can account for over 5 of them. Think about what I'm saying. You're diabetic, you're obese. That means your A1C is up. You're fat, you're obese. Okay, so that means you got plenty of toxins in the body, because fat holds toxins. What else does fat do? It lowers the hormone levels in the body. It changes testosterone into cancer-causing estrogen. I don't know if you're listening to me. We're talking 5 things that'll destroy the brain, all because of diabesity. That's being obese and having diabetes at the same time. And not only that, but inflammation is held what? In fat. Fat clogs up the cells and it sets the body up for a lot of inflammation. So the key is we have a love affair with food. We love all of these refined foods, okay? But do the foods love us back? Okay? You know, a guy sang a song, it's wonderful when you love somebody and that somebody loves you back. So are you in an abusive relationship? Do you love food that is abusing you? Come on, folks. I hope y'all are listening to me. Are you in an abusive relationship? For instance, let's start. We're looking here at the superior diet, and we talked about the fruits and so forth, and they came basically, the different fruits came from certain things, and we'll come back to this in a minute. But let's look at this. What's wrong with this picture? Okay, we're talking milk. We're talking casein, which is the protein in milk. It is actually what is called an excitotoxin. It excites the body. It leads to brain inflammation and neurodegenerative diseases. Most milk is pasteurized, okay? So most cows are raised with hormones and antibiotics. Are y'all getting me? And that is cancer causing. That is dangerous and detrimental to brain function. Okay, most cows are depressed and angry because of the way that they're raised. They're anxious. They're cooped up in little cages almost. They're not. They talk about this farm raised. Oh yeah, they're farm raised, all right. They're literally in little coops where they can barely move around. Their children are taken away from them. The calves are taken away from them at birth, and so they don't have that motherly instinct anymore. So they're angry, they're mad, and this anger and depression and anxiety creates negative chemicals that mix with the milk being produced. Are you hearing me, folks? 70% of the population doesn't even have, we don't even have the necessary molecules for breaking down. We're not able to process milk properly. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So bottom line, the casein, when mixed with stomach acid, turns into what is called a casomorphine. So that milk actually turns into like a drug, which acts on the opiate centers of the brain. That's why we love pizza, and we love cheese, and we love milk and milkshakes, because it excites the brain just like an opiate, just like a drug. Are y'all getting me? It's addictive. It's got milk sugar in it. The same milk sugar that causes babies in the hospitals, newly born, have tonsil problems, adenoid problems, sinus problems, and SIDS, even sudden infant death syndrome, because of all the mucus that comes with the milk sugar, the acidity of the milk, instead of them getting the mother's milk. So when we look at autistic children and you take them off of milk, listen to me. When we take autistic children off of milk, their language and communication skills would go up, and sometimes over 50 words in a week. I hope y'all listening to me. Ear infections from daily allergies cause us to have to do what? Use lots of antibiotics. What do the antibiotics do? They destroy the microbiome, or the gut health, the bacteria, the healthy bacteria in the gut, in our stomachs, are destroyed. And that's going to lead to more anxiety, more what? Brain problems, because there's a gut-brain relationship. And that may be even last for the rest of your life. You may be taking different types of anxiety pills and anger pills and depression pills for the rest of your life. In some cases, more than one of them, 2, 3 different times. One takes you up, one brings you down, one supposedly keeps you in the middle. But you're on all of that simply because of your diet, okay? This mucus-filled diet. All right. Again, food cravings. Why do we crave this food? There's something, a group of people that are called craveability experts, okay? And their job is to enhance craveability of the food products that these major manufacturers are selling. That's right. They add lots of salt, lots of sugar, artificial flavors and additives. In other words, they induce addiction. The food is not even food, but it tastes so good to your taste buds that you gotta have it. And most of this has been, these additives have been put in by special scientists designed to do what? To get you addicted to the food, the sugar, the salt, and the other flavors. In other words, you remember the little commercial that says, bet you can't eat just one? That's Lay's. They've got a combination of sugar and salt on those chips that make you crave them. I mean, you have to have more. Like they said, bet you can't eat just one. I hope y'all are listening to this. This is Dr. Franco Taylor, and we're talking about the brain-food connection. We're talking about food does work with your mood. So again, we were just saying that, well, I will say that the WHO, the World Health Organization, the Centers for Disease Control, mental health societies, all of them have done something. They've actually listed a group of 5 foods that are brain healthy foods. I hope you're listening to me. And they've also listed 5 foods that are what we would call brain dangerous or brain destroying foods. That's right. So they know the truth. They'll tell you the truth, but you just got to look it up. You're not going to get it on the news. You're not going to hear it from your doctor. You're not going to hear it at all unless you search it out. And I'm giving you that information today. We're talking about why you have brain fog, why your memory is not right, why you can't make good choices and good decisions. It's not because you're mentally challenged, it's because your brain is challenged. You're basically malnourished. You're not getting the foods that you need. So let's see if we can kind of look at some of the foods that are the good foods. We'll go back here. And the 5 foods that they say are necessary, number 1 is green leafy vegetables. We see that here. The second they say is called other vegetables, but I say it should be other colorful vegetables because the colors are what have the polyphenols, okay, and the antioxidants in them that helps your immune system to work, to help the immune cells to go and to clear out the cobwebs in the brain, to cross over the blood-brain barrier and literally help the body be well. And if you're listening to me, I need for you, please, Fabiola, if you would, once I finish my screen, if you would put up the 4 formulas, please, as soon as I finish my screen. But again, we're saying here that the 5 brain healthy foods that all of the systems agree to it, that if you have these, your brain will be healthy. Green leafy vegetables, other vegetables with color in them. You've got orange on the carrot, you've got yellow here on the corn. Nuts, we see nuts and seeds are absolutely loaded with what? B vitamins. That is brain food, folks. Your nuts are loaded with brain food, B vitamins for your nerves. Then berries, colorful fruits, loaded with, again, polyphenols and antioxidants for the body. Beans, loaded with fiber, loaded with protein, the necessary protein, the usable protein that doesn't have the cholesterol that causes the problems, okay? So the things that we need, you're looking at them here: whole grains, vegetables, fruits and berries, legumes, nuts and beans. These are the foods that do what? Give you brain health. And guess what? These are the foods that God gave man in the beginning. In Genesis, the 1st chapter, verse 29, he said, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every fruit of a tree, which has the seed inside of it, yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. So man's first meat, or his first food, was fruits, nuts, grains, and vegetables. And here we are 5,000 years later, almost 6,000 years later, and all of the major health concerns are telling us that the best brain foods are these same foods that God gave us in the beginning. Oh, I hope y'all are getting some of that. I hope you are. I hope you are. But then they tell us about the foods that are dangerous. They start off by saying red meats. There they are, folks. Red meats. What makes them red? That's a good question. We know that if an animal dies, that animal turns gray in just a few minutes, 30 minutes or so, he starts turning gray. And within a few hours, he's almost dark black. And maggots and pus and all that's coming out of it because it's dead. It's a dead body. So how does the steak stay in the butcher's shelf? How does it stay red for a week or 2 or more until it's sold? Because of all the embalming fluids, the chemicals, the nitrites and sulfates that are used to embalm it, to keep it looking fresh. And it's full of all these chemicals that are all cancer causing. They're all excitotoxins to the brain, and they cause brain fog. Have you ever eaten a meal of animal product, a lot of steak or chicken, hot wings or whatever, and you just feel like, oh boy, you just feel like you've been drinking scotch? That's because, again, all of those chemicals and the animal products themselves with the uric acid and so forth in it are literally like drugs to the body. That's why we're so addicted to it. Then they tell you about butter and cheese and eggs, all these things that are full of oil and grease that do what? Excite the brain, and the various types of milk sugars and so forth are there. It also tells us cheese, pastries, sweets. And again, we see the meats here, but again, and fried foods. All of the foods basically we eat, most of them are fried. So these are all brain destroyers. Red meats, butter, stick margarine, cheese, pastry, sweets. We're talking about the sugar, the milk sugar in them, and fried foods. Let me just say something here. We're almost done, and we're going to open up for questions today. But the key is we're talking about things that addict us, things that mess with our brain. Do you know that sugar is the greatest drug that ever was foisted upon mankind, white sugar. That's right. Foods with sugar in them, literally, and even the enriched flours and so forth that we eat turn to sugar. Meat, the fat from meat, after a while, it sits in the system, it's stored, it too becomes sugar. Are you listening to me? All this sugar is detrimental to your health. Sugar is the greatest destroyer of mankind. Like I say, children at birth, if they have mother's milk, you've never heard of a child having SIDS or sudden infant death syndrome if he was fed mother's milk. But all of the children with SIDS were all doing what? Drinking, I want to say carnation, but they were drinking the milk from the bottle, the man-made milk formulas and so forth, okay? What else do we see about sugar? Do you realize that all coffee and tea is what? It's basically laced with sugar, okay? All alcohol is fermented with sugar. Most of the canned goods that we eat do what? They literally have sugar in them, 4 or 5 types of sugar. And again, the tobacco is cured with sugar. So all of the habit-forming things that we take into our body have sugar and salt on them. Why? Because those are craveability things. Those are addictive things to the body, and they're also destructive and detrimental to your body, especially your brain, because your brain uses 1/3 of everything that goes into it, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And when you look at this grease here on the gravestone, they ought to have rest in grease instead of rest in peace. Hope I made sense on that, folks. Just a little laugh for us to realize that we're killing ourselves. We're digging our graves with a knife and a fork. And a good deal of the reason why you have mental fog, why you feel depressed, why you're angry, why you're so bitter, why you can't remember things, why you can't make good decisions, folks, it's because you're malnourished. You're eating food, but you're not getting good what? Good nourishment, because you need those live green foods that we talked about. You need those vegetables and fruits that have not been cooked. You need those nuts that have not been, what do we do to them? Roasted and salted, okay? You need fresh foods, lots of it. And all these sicknesses and diseases, especially brain problems, will begin to get better because most of it has to do with food. Hippocrates, I'm getting ready to end, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our formulas. Hippocrates said, he was the so-called father of medicine. He said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. That sounds pretty good. He says, don't do harm. Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. That sounds like a pretty good a statement. But in Ezekiel 4:11 in the Bible, we're told that it says, let the fruit of the tree shall be your meat or your food, and the leaves thereof your medicine. So 6,000 years ago, God sent word to me by the prophet Ezekiel, letting me know that my food and my medicine would be on the same tree. Are you listening to me? You eat your medicine when you eat the right kind of food. I hope y'all are listening to me, because we're going to open up for some questions. But when we open up for the questions, most of you are going to ask the same kinds of things. You're not going to look at what you can do for yourself. You're going to just wonder what the formulas can do for you. Well, yes, we have some powerful formulas, but I just want you to know that you've got to do some things. You've got to look at, you've got to think about the right kinds of things. You got to get all kinds of negative things out of your life. That's negative food, that's negative television, that's negative conversations, that's negative TV. Whatever is negative, you got to get it out of your life. You've got to make change. In order for things to get better, you've got to get better. In order for things to change, you got to change. And it starts with a change in your mind. You got to begin to study, listen to, and look at things that are positive for you. And this program that we bring you every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock Central Time is powerful. The medical moment. We're giving you information that other companies are not going to give you. Other companies won't give you this. They'll tell you the hype about their products only, and then they'll leave you hanging. And you're thinking that all you got to do is take the products and get well. Well, we've got the best formulas, and we're getting ready to talk about them. But bottom line, you've got to do something for yourself. Okay, I'm gonna come out of my screen, and I'm hoping that Fabiola is putting up our products, and we're going to talk just a little bit about those 4 formulas. And while we're waiting on the screen to come up with the formulas on it, there's 2 scriptures. One scripture is Proverbs 17:22, and it says, "A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, doth a merry heart, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine." And Proverbs 16:24 says, "Pleasant words are as an honeycomb, are pleasant words, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, and pleasant words are as a honeycomb, are pleasant words." So bottom line, what am I saying? Looking at things that are positive, listening to things that are positive, paying attention and being around things that are positive, staying away from negative things are health for the body, for the bones, and especially for the mind. Okay, Fabiola, are you there? Fabiola, are you there? Okay, whoever's controlling the site, are you there? Okay, all right. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about our formulas, and we're going to talk about our main 3 formulas today. And we'll start off with our Quinoa. That's our Quinoa. The Quinoa is basically our formula that works through thermogenesis. It helps the body to literally break down those caramelized fats and those refined sugars and starches that we take into our body. And when it breaks them down, it causes us to have instant energy. In other words, it burns them up. And so they don't get into the bloodstream. They're actually broken down and burned up in the stomach. And that causes the thermogenesis that gives us more energy. Immediately, we get energy from these formulas. And they do something else. When they burn up this fat, it doesn't get into the bloodstream. So that means that you wake up in the morning with your sugar level down, okay, and your blood pressure down, and your waistline in. Are you understanding what we're saying? We've got formulas that are going to help with getting all that excess fat, all that excess sugar out of the body. And what is that going to do? That's going to help feed the brain. Are you listening to me? We talked about the brain. We talked about things that it needed so that it could be healthy. The bad things were the sugar, were the fats and the starches. And so here we've got a formula called Quinoa that literally has the nanotechnology. It has the necessary antioxidants in the body to help flush out the body, help get the body to beating the way it's supposed to. Energy level goes up, sugar levels go down, the fat levels go down, so the blood pressure goes down, the waistline goes down. So at night while you're asleep, your body is burning up fats, it's burning up sugars, it's causing the body to be able to get a good night's sleep. It's getting your circulation to moving the way that it should. And again, it helps with the diabetes, it helps with the obesity, it helps with the high blood pressure. Are you listening? Those are the questions that are sometimes asked. Absolutely. Our formula, the Quinoa, will help with that. Then we're going to talk about the inner 7. Our inner 7 is our sea minerals. They're purified seawater from over 3.5 miles down in the Okinawa Ocean. All 60 of the necessary vitamins, minerals, especially magnesium. Over 33% of the formula is actually the magnesium, which is the most important, most necessary mineral for the body. That's in there to assist the body with flushing and being hydrated. It assists the immune system in working the way it's supposed to. It's called inner 7 because the mineral balance helps the body to reach a pH level of 7.5. That's balance. That's homeostasis. That means that your body is at a norm where it can go up if it needs to, it can go down. It gives you the energy, it gives you the melatonin for sleep, it gives you what endorphins for whatever you need, it'll do it when it's at a pH of 7.5, and the inner 7 helps it to do that. And again, it balances the body out. It helps with testosterone levels in men. It helps to increase the testosterone because men are always asking, what can we do to help with testosterone? Well, taking the inner 7 will help to do that. And again, it helps the body to stay hydrated. And again, it helps with circulation at the microcellular level. So that's 2 of our formulas. That's the Quinoa and the inner 7. And the third one we're going to talk about is the Belage. The Belage is the #1 formula that we have. It's the one that Bahia Diaz worked on 50 years ago. It was the first formula. It was the flagship formula. It was the one that he knew was needed after he looked at the people in Japan and their long lives. And so he created outside of the body, the Belage. He literally helped them to have the fermented foods that was one of the reasons for their longevity. He helped to create fermentation, cold fermentation outside of the body with things like black bean and green tea, rosemary and olive leaves. And this literally gave the body the metabolites that it needed, the antioxidants that it needed. The Belage actually has 14,000 billion nanoparticles with antioxidant molecules to help reboot the immune system, to help the blood circulate at the microcellular level, to help the mitochondria begin to fire and to beat, to give us the energy that we need. And mostly it does one powerful thing. It helps with our immune system. It helps the body. It actually has Treg cells that tell the body to do what? To make antibodies. I know that's what they say the vaccine is supposed to do. I'm not knocking the vaccine. I'm saying that our body has within it a microbiome system that has good bacteria and bad bacteria, good microbes and bad microbes, just enough bad microbes to help the body to continually evolve, help the immune system to continually be on guard for anything that's, are y'all listening to what I'm saying? The body has a built-in vaccine system. It's been built in since the time before we were born. It was being created in our bodies, in our mother's microbiome. And then the milk that she gave us even more. And then the dirt and so forth that we ran into out here in the world, the toxins help to build that immune system. So the immune system is constantly waiting on something to come to it so it can fight. And the Belage helps it to do that with all its billions of antioxidant molecules at the nano level. So again, we've got formulas that work. I'm gonna say a little bit more about the Belage, but I'm gonna say the Hasaki basically has 596 metabolites. It basically has the ingredients, the nutrient ingredients to help the body be at a pH of 7.5. It helps with thermogenesis. We're missing so many things in the body. It also helps burn up fats and sugars, and it helps the body to be at a pH of 7.5. But back to the Belage, again, it has white paper proving that it literally has stopped all viruses in their tracks. That's influenza A, influenza B, that's gastroenteritis, that's even SARS. So we've got formulas that are one of a kind. And if you're doing what you're doing, what you should be doing, which is putting good nutrition in the body, as we talked about today, as we talk about every week, then you add these formulas, you can't lose. But the bottom line is they need to put in some good foods and so forth so that the body can do its own healing. All of our formulas are designed to work with whatever is going on, even that. But the key is you've got to start doing some things for yourself. You got to eat better, you got to drink better, you got to rest, and then allow the formulas to go in and help on all the various areas of the body where the body needs some assistance. They just help the body to do what it knows how to do. They just give it a little jump start. They just give it a little boost. It's like putting your battery and hooking it up to a car that's been sitting still for a long time. It gets a jolt. The mitochondria begin to beat. The blood begins to flow. The energy begins to take place. The poisons and toxins are removed from the body. The body begins to flow again like it was supposed to, and it begins to heal itself. Very, very simple. It doesn't matter what it is. We're talking about giving it what it needs so that it can heal itself.